Hey everyone, 79 Hurstles guy here again. And today I wanted to kind of show you primarily the Model B Sporter Sheridan that's here in the very forefront, along with the other guns, the Model A and then the Model Cs. The Model A, I've got a video if you're interested in looking at this one a little more in depth, along with the Model Cs. These are the kind of like the first years, if you will, that were produced. So the Model B, though, I just recently acquired to kind of fill in the gap. I was looking for one, but they're pretty expensive guns, along with the Model A, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to find one, afford one, and obviously put it into the collection, but I was able to do so. So I'm pretty excited about that. A little background on these guns. In 1947, Sheridan came out with the Model A, and they were not going to, well, it was $52.50, I think, or it was $56.50, somewhere in that ballpark, but it was just a very expensive gun, very high quality gun, but a very expensive gun back then. And they just didn't sell well. People couldn't afford them. And if you, especially for an air gun, you could go out and buy a .22 rimfire rifle, I think for a cheaper price than this. So they just weren't big movers. And in total, it's estimated that only 2,130-ish of these guns were actually made between 1947 and 1953. The Sporter came out, the Model B here, in 1948, and it only had a 3-year run. Primarily, they were coming out as a little bit cheaper gun, hopefully to get more sales, because this just wasn't going to keep as I said, the company afloat. So they made this more, quote, inexpensive gun, and it retailed when it came out around $35, and then when it stopped production, it was about $42.50. But in today's dollars, that kind of equals out to about $431, and then about $524-ish or so. So expensive to purchase, and of course, again, it was a very pricey gun back in that day. So then in 1949, Sheridan realized that this wasn't going to work. They needed to sell more guns to stay afloat, and they came out with the Model C, and that one retailed initially at like $19.95 or something like that, and then within a year it was something like $21 or $21.50 or something like that. And then they sold very well and went from there. So you can see the two Model A and Model B here, and the cheapness, if you will, that Sheridan kind of made it to make it cheaper was, I'll say, minor in the grand scheme of things. They took away the cheek piece out of the stock. They used a lower quality paint, I suppose, on the pump tube and the barrel, and you might be able to see it. This one, the Model A I have here, still retains its original kind of barrel protection there. That's why there's a discoloration there. This also, there's, I guess, in the aluminum casting there, not wrapped around, and then it's a vented barrel and then pump tube. You can see the kind of the opening here behind it. And it did not have, there's like an aluminum filler piece in here between the two. And then in the front, and I'll show you this gun here closer here in a second, the sight is far, I guess, less expensive. It looks like it's a cast piece. This is probably cast, but then it has a filler front sight as well. The sights are a little different. They're both for windage and elevation, but this one is completely a wraparound. Both of these were in .20 caliber, and very similar in the safety catch in the back. Sheridan stamped in the side here, and I'll just kind of come up and run down the length of the gun here. barrel tube in the front. As I said, this one shoots really hard, and it's actually quite accurate, and it feels really comfortable to the trigger squeeze. I'm not sure if it's been worked on by a prior owner, but it is quite easy and or nice to actually pull the trigger. It's very smooth, it's just crisp. You can see the arc all the way over the top of the housing here. Like I said, it's a cast aluminum and then machined. I'm not sure if I mentioned that only about 1,050-ish of these guns were produced. There's nothing, I think, hard numbered to say. That's just an approximation. But the Model B is a rarer rifle than the Model A, clearly by just the production numbers. So finding one in especially fireable condition is really nice. It would be, if you could find one, I guess, with the original box, you'd be doing super. You can see the marking here at Sheridan Products Incorporated, Racine, Wisconsin, patent pended for, I think is what it says there on the bottom. Very nice, same kind of trigger assembly. By and large, I think the interior components of this gun are the same as the Model A. Is just that the little cheaper downgrades, if you will, on the walnut stock. There's no serial numbers on these Model B sporters. There are on the Model A's, but none of them had a serial number. You will find a stamped number as well on the Model A on both pieces of the both the stock and then the foregrip here, and they should be the same number. One piece of wood was used to construct both, and that was just their marking to say this one's marked 46. So number 46 weren't 46, so they weren't obviously mixing up guns. This is as I said, a cast and machined receiver with a bronze barrel and then a bronze barrel and pump tube, and they were factory rated for about 700 feet per second. I haven't chronographed this one, but hopefully I will be doing so if the weather holds, and see how it works out. I happened to run across my little Sheridan handbook here in the back, and what you'll notice on this particular one, I think this is a one-year only handbook. And the only reason I think that is because the way the Sheridan Products is printed here in Racine, Wisconsin, it matches the same kind of font that's on the Model B and Model A. But obviously on this one, it says Silver Streak and Blue Streak. And then some of the pictures here inside here, they're just hand drawing pictures. And it's probably hard to see, but it kind of gives the outline of either a Model A or a Model B gun. And the Blue Streaks came out in 1952, so that's why I assume that this handbook, it's not marked as 1952 or any kind of dates inside it, so I was just speculating on that. If you know for sure, you could add a comment down there in the bottom. That would always be nice. But anyway, just filled in my, as I said, my collection, and I'm glad to have the A, B, and C model now, and it's just a great thing to have. Thanks so much for taking a look, as always, and have a good one until the next time.